Okay, welcome to the top of the mountain. This is our entrance to Caverns. Like I said at the bottom, my name is Olivia, or you can call me Dancer. That is my nickname. Now we will start with some history out here. We'll go in there for a little bit of more safety, and then before we head actually into it. Now for the history, my first thing is a trick question. Who do you think found Lewis and Clark Caverns?
The Native Americans.
Indians?
Native Americans.
Native Americans. Anybody else?
Lewis and Clark.
Not Lewis and Clark.
Vikings.
No. Okay, it was the bats by a few million years. And then it was the Indians. They knew of the mountain, but they wouldn't use it. Then it was Lewis and Clark came through here. They were over there where you can see the phone line past that second mountain. They came down that ridge and then floated the Jefferson. Now they also came through during the spring, so they heard of a growing mountain from the Native Americans, but didn't know why it was called that or that this was the mountain that they were talking about. Now after that was two ranchers, Tom and Bert from over in Whitehall to the west of us. They came out one summer, during the winter to hunt, looking for some game down in the valley, and saw smoke coming from our natural entrance, which is the last bench that you guys saw before coming here. Now, they thought that it was a smoke flare signaling for somebody in trouble, so they came up the valley, up the side of the mountain to there to find that it wasn't somebody in trouble. It was just steam coming from our very mountain itself, because it is 49 degrees year-round. So it's going to be nice and cool in there when we get in there. And then during the winter, it has a nice, warm, steamy effect to it. Wow. So while they were having this conversation, they threw a rock down the entrance to see how deep it was. And the rock kept going and going and going and going. They did not hear the bottom of it, so they decided to come back later. It took them 6 years to come back, though. So 6 years later, they came back with a whole crew, people, ropes, lights, everything that they needed to explore it. And when they did, they threw their ropes down more than 50 feet in until they got to a part where they could actually stand up and start exploring. And Tom took a liking to it right away and wanted to start giving tours. But he didn't know how to make it accessible to public, put it out there for them, or have it safe. So they went to Dan Morrison. If you had come from the west, you would have seen a big cut in the mountain with a hole and then a side cut. That is Dan Morrison's limestone quarry. He was the third Morrison to own that quarry. So Tom and Bert brought him over here, showed him the cave, said, "What do you think? You think you would be interested?" And he took a liking to it right away. So he blasted open this entrance, put in more than 2,000 wooden stairs, including a spiral staircase, and started giving tours. Now, his tours was a lot longer than ours. Ours is 2 hours. How long do you think his was?
5.
Longer than 5.
9.
Longer than 9.
Days.
Less than days.
17.
Less than 17.
12.
Less than 13. 12. It was 12 hours. That's because they didn't start where we started in the visitor center. They started in Butte, Montana, took a train ride over there past the second bend, where you see a little building that is a train station that no longer exists for a town that no longer exists. They would then walk the water up the valley, up the side of the mountain, just to get to the entrance would take 2 hours. And then they would go on into the cave, get to the bottom or the deepest that they knew, and then come back out the way that they went in. Now, while Morrison was giving his tours, the railroad started asking, where are these people going? So they looked at their map to look at where Morrison was going and looked at it again and found that this was their land, that Morrison was giving tours on their land without their knowledge. So they took him to court and won very quickly. After they won, there's nothing really they wanted to do with it. There's nothing on the other side they wanted to get to. They didn't want to keep going with Morrison's tour. So all they did was send a boy up here, change the log, send him back, and then hand it over to the federal government. Now, the federal government also didn't know what to do with it because at the time, it still kind of is, this is nowhere, Montana. So they gave it over to the Yellowstone National Park. Now, the National Park had to send a ranger group up here each year, once a year, because Every time that they would change the lock, they would go around, disappear behind the mountains. Morrison would watch them disappear, come around the mountain to here use a universal lockpick, which is a bolt cutter, take their lock off and put his own on. And this kept going until 1932. Want to take a guess why it stopped in 1932? He died, yes. He died of old age. That was the only thing that stopped Morrison from giving illegal tours on federal land. Now, after Morrison passed away, Montana State went to the federal government with a proposal saying, if you give us the money and the manpower to make this more accessible to the public and safer for them, we will give the tours. The federal government took that. So they sent over money, and the CCC boys, the Civil Conservation Corps, they sent over 210 between teenage and 25-year-old boys. They built the road that you guys took up to the visitor center. They built the visitor center. They made the path that we just took to get up here. They built the path that we're going to take on the way out. They would widen Morrison's entrance, take out all of his wooden stairs, including his spiral staircase, and replace them with more than 600 stone stairs into the very mountain, which one stair would take 3 days to do, because they were carving it by hand. They would also do us the favor of blasting our exit tunnels, and so instead of going all the way down and then having to come back up, we just keep on going on through. Now, going back to 1907, with President Roosevelt named us the 12th National Monument. That's how we got our Lewis and Clark name, because this is in their journey. There was nothing named after them at the time, and President Roosevelt was interested in their story. So he named us the Lewis and Clark Caverns. Then in 1937, we became the first state park. Any questions?
What year did those guys find it? Morrison?
Tom and Bert, 1880s.
That's crazy.
Any other questions? Okay. So we can go on into the sitting area right there, just for some safety.
Do not look over that. That is one of the reasons why the Indians didn't use this as a shelter, because that is incorrect. That is our natural entrance up there. That is also the last time we will be seeing the sun. That is why this is called the twilight zone. It will be lit the entire way, but that is the last time we see the sun. The third reason why the Indians didn't use this as a shelter is because the Jefferson River is the closest natural water source. They didn't want to be walking back and forth just for water. Now, like I said, we have the two types of bats, the little myotic bats and the big-eared bats. They will be in this tunnel. They'll probably be up there hidden somewhere, but they'll be in this tunnel, and I'll point out to them when I can. If it comes flying towards you, stand still. They will think you are a wall and go around you. If they do not, and they land on you, they weigh no more than my key does. It will not hurt you. If it does land on you, which I have not had yet, just call me over, or you can try and move it over to the floor yourself. Yes. above my head. Above my head, and one of them is flying around real fast. Now over here, to our left, is where Dan Morrison's spiral staircase would be. The spiral staircase would start there, you can see the bolt that my flashlight is playing at, and it would go all the way down to the bottom of this pit. Now with Morrison, when he put in his wooden stairs, he put in wall lumber instead of treated. So each year before he started giving tours, he would have to change more than 100 stairs a year. And by the end of his time, that staircase got to the point where you would take one step, you would go 2 feet to your left. Take another step, you would go 2 feet the other way. And you would be swinging back and forth the entire way down. Now, I'm not scared of heights, but that would scare me. Now, Morrison also allowed people to take souvenirs. We are in a living cave, so this cave is still growing. We want it to be this milky, grayish, whitish color. That means it's still growing. There will be parts in here on the stairs around you that you'll see that have like a glossy, little mucky look to them. That is from people touching it. That is from our dust from our clothes, shoes. That's just from everything on us. It leaves behind an oil on top of it, and that kills it. And those will never grow back. So please do not touch anything unless you're about to fall. Any questions? Okay. Next we will be going down the beaver slide. The beaver slide is an actual slide about this long. Now in the middle of it there is a speed bump, so if you're not careful you will hurt your bum. Before that there is a ball that comes like this and a stalagmite right at knee height, so look out for both of them. So if you don't, you'll probably get one or both. After that, after the beaver slide is back scratch alley. I'm going through back scratch alley like this. The taller folks, you'll be going in like this. Now there is a hand railing, but it's going to be up here to you, so it's not going to be very comfortable. So go up it sideways, use the stairs themselves, whatever you're more comfortable with. At the top of back scratch alley, there will be some wet stairs. Be careful of those, they are slippery. The second big set of stairs that you see going down into the next big room will have a slope to them and are wet, so they're going to be extra slippery. So look out for those ones as well.
this is made by the water coming out of the rock and the cracks and falling down the side of it like a waterfall. And we go to our stalactites. Stalactites are made the same way that our sea stones. They push out the water and go slowly down the side of it, leaving behind the minerals for a time that make it wider or longer. Then we go to our soda straws. Now these soda straws are hollow inside. But when they close up and pull up to the top of it, if their base is strong enough, it will become a stalactite. If it is not strong enough, it will fall to the floor. And then we go to our stalagmites, which are all of these back here. Now with the stalagmites, you can use to find stalactite. That's because the water going too fast for the stalactite to catch, or there's too much of the water and it drops down to the floor, and it starts building up from there. Now when these two meet in the middle, and one gets taller than the other and they meet, they will create a column, which are these big things that go from the floor all the way to the top. There's also one back there. Now we also have a column called the fallen idol. We know of 4 parts of it. We have the big piece that's right next to me. We have one piece that's in the gully. For the people in the back who can't see, when you get over here, I will show it to you. And then the top of it is over here where my flashlight is pointing. Now the base of these 3 parts is up here. Now when this was tied from the top all the way down to the bottom, the water was getting to one side only, so it was one side heavy. And then it got to the point where the other side couldn't hold it and it fell. Now this is the regrowth on top of it. We can measure the regrowth and see how long ago it fell. This was measured at 12 inches at the beginning of the year. You times that by 100 and get an estimate of when it started to regrow, and then go back a little bit more to estimate when it fell. Then we go to our version of Old Faithful, which is right here in front of me. The water comes from up there, it splashes into this. This is called a splash cup. So it splashes, the water splashes out of it onto the sides, and the sides will raise up all the way to the top, and only then will it grow a little bit taller, and we repeat that process. There is another one of these at the corner of the stairs right when you go down them, so you can kind of see a top view of it. Any questions? And 12 times 100, and then go back a little bit more. But instead of going down the side of the mountain like a waterfall, it follows one singular line every single time. This is called ribbon rock or cave bacon, because if you're looking at it from the side, it looks like bacon. Now we go to our cauliflower. Cauliflower is made the same way that we sweat. It pushes out the water enough for it just to sit there and the minerals to harden, but not enough for it to fall to the floor. This is the formation that we have the most of in our cave. You'll see it in small parts, big parts, like over here in these chunks. You'll see it in medium parts. This is also called cave popcorn, but it's very stale. Any questions before I move on?
What's this up here? That hole?
That hole is just a hole.
Okay. No significance.
That is why this is called the cathedral room. It's also called a holy room.
Right.
welcome. We have been here before. Who wants to take a guess how? Yes, we were up there. That is where the Susan Rock is. This is the bottom of the pit. This is also where Dan Morrison's fire staircase would end. It would end over there by the transformer. And they would keep going into that room where you see the lights, because they did not have the path that we just took or the path that we are about to take. They would stop in the little cathedral, go back up to where the stairs started, come down the stairs, go over there to get into the next room. Now the next room is called the halfway room. That is because it is half of what we are standing in. So, do we want to do the history out here or inside of that room?
What do you mean by half? Half is tall? Like, are we down like?
No, it's like half of like the platform.
Okay, gotcha.
There is room for everybody to stand up,
Okay.
but it's just half of the platform. So it's like right where this guy is cut off. So you guys would
Sounds
be
like here's a good spot. Yeah, I was about to say.
Okay, well, before we do the information that we would do in there, we got to do the information that we do out here. So this is where one of our accident has happened. One of the CCC boys was working on the fire staircase a few feet up and fell. He broke most of his bones on his left side of his body. And the crew he was with heard this happen and came to see, but they decided to leave him there. They went up the stairs, down the mountain, down to their base, grabbed 2 mattresses and a bunch of rope. They came back, put him in between the mattresses, tied it tight, and took him back down to the train station, where they commandeered a train to take him to Butte, Montana, which was the closest hospital. It still kind of is. He would last 3 days in the hospital before succumbing to the injuries and the trauma. Now that is why we take the safety so seriously. Use the hand railings, use the path in front of you, use the stairs. This is why Morrison thought it was okay to take souvenirs, because it looks like the inside of a tree. So they thought that it would grow as fast as trees do. There will be parts in here that have a little bit of growth, not even a fingernail of growth. And that is just from 90 years. So please do not touch anything, because the parts that you see are kind of glossy like this. This is from people stepping on it, from touching it. This will never grow back. Any questions?
How long would it take, like, a stalactite like that to grow?
Probably 1,000 years.
Yeah, right.
Probably more than that.
That's crazy.
So on the stairs coming down, I noticed that same kind of pattern on several of the stairs.
Like right here.
Are they the top?
How many ways in and out of here do you think there are?
6.
Less than 6, less than 5, more than 4, 4.5. There's the way that we came in. There is the way that we will be leaving. There's the way Morrison's group would come in. They would climb down into here and then have to climb back up. Now before they kept going deeper, they would go over here to this room back here. Now this is the Princess Palace. There's 2 more rooms back there. One I don't know the name of, the other named the Princess Dungeon. Now this is also the only entrance to this room, so you go in and out the same way. That is why it's also no longer accessible to public. Because trying to get this size of group in there safely without breaking anything is kind of impossible. What do you think the halfway point is? Yes. Excuse me. So So if you're looking back there, it looks like there's going to be another big grand room back there. If you count less than 2 feet a room. Now that's what the CCC boys thought as well when they did that. They saw the big gap in there that thought that it was going to be another big grand room. So they broke the pieces to see if they could get to it. Now they got in a lot of trouble for doing that because they weren't supposed to be breaking anything. They started calling it the doghouse because of them. Any questions before we go on in? At the end of these stairs, you will have to go sideways for a little bit, but other than that, you should be good. To the Garden of the Gods. It is our longest one, like I said, it is all lit up for us as well. So it has a different feel to it than it does with Morrison's group when they called it the Garden of the Gods. Behind us over here, these columns look like vines in a forest. That's where they got the garden part of it. Now also with us down here, looking up, those guys look a little bit taller, and you guys we look a little bit shorter. That is the same way throughout this entire thing. Now at the end of this big staircase right here will be the crystal pool to your left. I will stop for a little bit, get as many as I can, and then I'm going to keep on moving. Any questions? This is called the waterfall room because we are getting into our iron deposit. So there's a big iron deposit like 2 feet up and that way from us. Now this part is getting here. You'll also see some parts that have kind of look like caramel. That is also from the iron. Up there is mainly just calcite. Down here it's going to be calcite and iron and a little bit more. This is also where Morrison's group would end. They would stop here, eat food, and then make that climb back up because they didn't have the path that we're going to take or the knowledge of the rooms that we're about to go to. This is also where the second incident is told. One of the CCC boys on a Friday afternoon thought it was okay to come in here by himself to explore with one carbon light and a little bit of water. He got deeper than what we are right now, and the lights went out, and his light went out. So he was stuck like that for the next 2 days. On Monday, when the CCC came in, took inventory and counted their men, found 1 light missing and 1 person missing. So they sent in a crew to find him. They found him deeper than what we are right now. He was on his back, talking to himself. But they kept on insisting that he was upright and that there was somebody in cover anything that glows, because it does take away from the experience. I have to take off my watch so it doesn't glow. Okay. 3, 2, 1. This is what Morrison's group were with. They didn't have much light. They could barely see 2 feet in front of you and nothing behind you. So the Garden of the Gods have a different feel to it when you're going through like this. Now we do have candlelight tours during December, so if you would like to take a tour like this, please come during December.
No, thank you.
Now there is an air hole in the back of this. That is because for the airflow, and then it is also because they were climbing through most of this. So they would have to put this up high, climb to it, and then grab the handle. So this allows it for airflow and to be able to see the
to see the light or handle. Because without it, they probably would hit it and the light will go out. And I would expect that they would bring extra lights with them, but probably not a lot. Welcome to the complete darkness. If we can have that phone go off. There we go. Complete natural darkness. There's only 3 places in the world that you can get this natural complete darkness. One is here in the cave, one is in the deep, deep ocean, and the other is in outer space. Now, like I said, if you're starting to feel wobbly, that is because your brain is trying to figure out if it is upright or not. And since our eyes tell our brain that it is upright and our eyes are useless right now, it is trying to figure it out by itself. So if you feel wobbly or if it's getting too much, go down in the crouch and then stay in the crouch. Any questions? Please raise your hand. Yes. This is a black light. It makes everything glow, like up there. It is also over here in these rocks. It's also down below me. It is everywhere in here. It allows me to do something that without this would get you arrested. If you use anything other than a black light and sign my name. So what is happening in here when my black light hits this rock? The minerals in here, they well, there's a flash. Please turn off your flashes if you're trying to take pictures. But what is happening here with the minerals, with the black light hits the minerals, is that the electrics in the minerals are starting to bounce off into the next layer. And when I take it away, it goes back to its stable form. So we will be going down some stairs, down to a platform that we're going to have to squeeze on for that to turn off the lights behind us. We're going to try and get as many people onto that platform as we can.
Here we are, guys. 1 mile high above sea level. Oh yeah.
Okay, welcome to the grand finale room. Behind me is the paradise room. It is our largest and most decorated room. If you would like to see it, please take the paradise tour. It is for people that can't take that hike, disabled, and really young children. We do not see in there, and they don't see anything that we just saw. They come in through that tunnel, go in there, and go out that tunnel. That is our exit tunnel behind us. It was blasted by the CCC boys in 18 months from the outside in. Now same concept, 5 feet in front of the door, please.
Thank you, dancer.
No problem.
That was cool.
My video turned on by accident. That's on that stupid light. Did you guys like that? That was awesome, wasn't it?